everyone. We're having fun over here. For some reason, we lost our internet connection at the building here, and we're back up and running. So this is great. I'm glad to be on tonight. And we have a special guest tonight by the name of Blaise, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy this tonight. So just a little cleanup on things that are happening. So let's see. Yeah, we have a winner, Linda Sweeney from Idaho. She's the winner of last month's Palm presentation, winning the Palm Light for $1,300, and that's really cool. So at this point, we're going to go right into our meeting. Just want to also mention to everybody that we have a draw that everybody who wants to join us can go into the draw, and they can. So this is separately. And if they tell us about their friends, they put out, they go on our website and click on a certain thing, they can enter the draw that December 20th, we will be seeing who has got the most number of friends that they've been able to forward to us. And with that, we'll be able to add, they will be able to win a the ultimate. And not only that, those that are in second place, one person will be drawn, and they will get 20% off. And the third, if you are the third person, you will be getting a 10% off. So there you go. Well, welcome, Blaise. We're just fine-tuning a little bit here. Great to have you on tonight. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Hey, Tom. First of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and speak to everyone. My name is Blaise Sergeant. I guess first and foremost, I'm a personal trainer. That's my claim to fame. But I specialize in people who have postural pain. So I've been working in the industry for the last 17 years, and I've niched my market to those who have inflammatory conditions, people who can't regularly be at the gym training under a regular trainer. I guess that's my claim to fame. So I work with people who have mobility issues and limitations in their movement.
That's great. That's great. And as a matter of fact, I got a chance to have to be under your treatment and be able to get my, I think my bones rearranged.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely your posture. But yeah, you'd be surprised to know how much pain actually comes from posture, right? And posture is just the position you're in most of the time. So things like overuse injuries or sitting for too long, being sedentary, I mean, computer geek, all of it. So yeah. So how we
strike one, strike two, strike three for myself, and check, and you're just going to.
You're not alone, Tom. You're not alone.
And the challenge is that these days it's a lot of computer work, and it's a lot of being on the phone and talk, whatever that might be, and you got this position for far too long, and then you're a guy like myself that decides that really you don't need to take time to do exercise per day. So you caught me very early on. When I came into you, came into your facility. I was just starting for the first time ever in my life to spend some time in exercise, and I've now been able to increase that to like almost 45 minutes to an hour a day, and I didn't come to that realization real quickly. I bought one of those exercise things, and I put it in the basement, and I had something else for exercise, and they just sat there. And it wasn't until I really couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I was,
that's typically when people end up through my doors.
yeah,
When they're just like, oh my God, last ditch. They said go see Blaise. I can't take it anymore. I'm just gonna go. And then
yeah.
they get here and they're like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? So
Well, and you helped me big time, and as well to help me well get through and get on my way to the special trip that I made to England. So thank you again, Blaise, for taking me on.
I'm just
And
really happy. I'm happy it all worked out and you're able to go on that mission because it was an important one.
yes,
Yeah,
and we our presentation
put it down.
ended up going around the world. And so if it wasn't for what you did, I don't know if we'd be as popular today because the number of people that ended up meeting with and connecting from around the world. And so
Well, it was
thank you,
my
Blaise.
absolute pleasure. So I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm really happy.
I
That's
think
good.
you remember
And I
that,
love
don't?
how the red light therapy is such a compliment to the work that I do because I mean, you'll know that when I put hands on you, sometimes you end up being a little bit tender, a little bit sore because, you know, I got to get deep into the tissue, right? So the red light therapy helps to
All right, we're having internet issues, folks. We're really sorry about that, but bear with us and we'll get through this. So, um, so when I met you, you were talking about getting a new place established called the Red Light Boutique.
Yep.
And I see the sign behind you. Not only do I see the sign behind you, but I was there. I was there on your open house. And what was the date on that? Just a little while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, November 1st, my birthday actually.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah. And I tell you, a great open house. And you were able to present not only yourself, but the kind of stuff that you do and also the equipment that you have now. You have the large canopy device and you have
canopy. Yeah,
and the palm device, and you've
yeah,
been able to use it a bit. So
absolutely. I started with the palm,
so
and
how do you
that
find out about red light therapy? What happened?
well, you know, I've been into red light therapy, but on a superficial level because I got it on my. I won't tell you how old I am, but 2 years ago, I got it for myself on my birthday for my face because
Okay.
I was starting to get sunspots. So I'm a person who I'm always on the football field. I'm always outside. So the sun was causing my skin to get brown and blotchy, and it wasn't recovering as it normally would, right?
Right.
So I bought this little gadget that had red light therapy and vibration therapy. Now, I've always used percussion therapy in my practice. So using percussion with the red light therapy just looked really interesting. Plus, it came from a brand that I had used in the past. So
Right.
I believed in the brand and I invested, right? It was a $400 device and it worked really, really well on my face. So, you know, I didn't really look at red light therapy as a medical option. I looked at it aesthetically, like, okay,
Mm.
they're saying that this can help my blotchy skin, and it did. It actually did.
Yes,
So that, yeah,
there's no doubt in my mind that there's devices out there that even the large panels that don't give off that much, but they definitely will help with skin issues.
yeah, yeah,
Um, you know,
yeah.
but
Definitely at the superficial level, it really helped with those blotches. Within a few weeks, they were gone, and I had had them for months and months. And it was, I mean, I don't like to be vain, but you know, I, you want to hold on to your youth as much as possible, and you know, some nice glowing skin goes.
right. Now, for a guy though, they're looking at, hey, can I get a scar here and can I get a scar here? You know, it adds to the, you know.
Well, more so, well, in my experience, what I'm finding is that they're more interested in if it can grow their hair back.
And it can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we do have the, which we'll talk a little bit later on about the break, but we have our mini canopy, or sorry, the mini canopy, the pump, the helmet here. And there's the red and the near infrared, and people have been able to grow some hair with it. But that hasn't been our main reason why we've developed this. But
The main focus, yeah.
yeah, our focus has been on how can we help people get better. First was, well, you said about your face. I'll say about, well, 16 years ago, it was about my back. And that's what happened for me was I had hurt my back about 20 years earlier, and I didn't even believe in PBM. There's no way. And I thought I'd just put the light on my back after I developed it for another type of treatment, had nothing to do with pain and inflammation. And when I put it on, I thought, I'll just give it a try. I'm in so much pain. And I've put it behind my back, and in about 20 minutes, my pain had significantly dropped.
Right.
So when that happened, I was like, oh my
Whoa.
gosh, this can make that kind of difference. And why doesn't
Well, Tom, let me interrupt you for a second. You asked me about my experience with red light therapy initially, but I want to say that the real impact came when I was using the Palm, the Super Palm, right?
okay,
So I had the opportunity to use it because another client of mine was using the tech and said, "You really need to try this. Check this out." Now I'm not saying I was a naysayer. I was just like, okay, fine, because it was he would have he would have introduced it, and I was like, yeah, yeah, and then he did it again, and I was like, yeah, yeah, and then the third time, it was like, you know what, fine, I'll try it. So I
well,
had the
I'm
opportunity to try
glad
it.
I'm glad he was persistent.
Yeah, he was persistent. And then at the time, now this is how I knew this was it because I do a lot of body work. So I don't have overuse injuries, but I have trigger points in my body that, if not addressed, can develop into an injury, right? So an
Right,
overuse injury, right? Now I've been successful up until that point at keeping my triggers at bay and limiting the amount of work I did because it was starting to get worse, a lot worse. Things were inflamed all the time. The tendon in my bicep was always hard, just again from overuse. So I was still able to work, but then I had to decrease my workload because of the pain. And I'm
right,
not into taking too much anti-inflammatories, but I was starting to take it so that I could literally work and not be in so much pain. And then I tried the light probably within a week. Now, keep in mind, I felt the difference the first time I used it, right?
right.
But I was like, maybe it's psychosomatic, maybe it's, you know what I mean? It was too fast. It was too fast. So I liked how it felt. Now, keep in mind, I had taken a month off of work to allow this to calm down,
Right,
right? And I took the time off. It felt better. But as soon as I started working again, the pain returned right back because, of course, it's the same thing that caused it in the first place. So
right,
using the red light consistently morning and evening, because I had the benefit of actually having the palm to use. It wasn't like a one-off session or, do you know what I mean? I was
right.
consistently using it every single day.
Yep,
And like I said, within the first week, it was a dramatic difference in terms of I can reach forward, I can reach to the side. I still couldn't kind of reach behind yet, but I was able to work and use a lot of my left as well. Um, and then I want to say within 2 to 3 weeks, it almost felt normal. And now keep in mind, that's in tandem with the trigger point work and
right.
everything I
Doing
was
everything
doing. That's
everything you
right.
know to get
Yeah.
better. And
That's
this
right.
time around, when you added the light to it,
It was the I don't know, the icing on the cake,
yeah. So
right?
just
So
curious, you were using the Super Palm,
yes.
and what was your treatment like? What were you doing? Like
Well,
on an area?
in the very beginning, I was told to do 8 minutes of the red and
Mm-hmm.
8 minutes of the infrared.
Yep. Near
So that's
infrared. Yep.
the near infrared, yes. And that's what I did, right? Sometimes I would do it 3 times a day. So
Okay.
it was just a matter of time. But
Yeah, and
I
those
was
were deeper. Those were deeper areas. That's why we were recommending the longer period of time
yeah,
to try and do that. If you're just doing your hands, a minute of each will do fine. But when you're trying to get deeper into a joint area, you need to, and sometimes deep muscle stuff, it's going to require more time. And you
right.
can even extend that time. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, I
so
mean, I have, right? And I'll tell you another thing that happened too. I started getting experimental with it, right? So I would start using
uh-oh.
it. Yeah, yeah, I would start using it on my hair and it grew back because I had a big receding line and like I mean, I don't want to pull it out, but because I did my hair today, but if I pull it out, you'll see that there's about this much new growth in
Okay,
that spot that had receded,
right.
right? So it's amazing. But I want to tell you, I want to like my son. He's a D1 athlete. He's on scholarship in the States, and he didn't play at all last year on account of his knee injury, right? So when he came back in the summer for summer break, I was like, listen, you need to use this palm. You're going to use
Right.
this palm 2-3 times a day with the same formula, and he he couldn't believe it. He was just like, no, this is not real. It can't be real because his knee was constantly swelling because he had a meniscus tear. It was constantly swelling, and his range of motion was not the same as the other side, right?
Right.
So he couldn't narrow that gap because of the swelling. So what the red light did was it decreased the swelling exponentially, and then he was able to work on his mobility and build up his knee. And now he's the starting keeper. So it's like I don't want to say it's miraculous, but I guess it's kind of miraculous, right?
Hey, listen, I just look at it as you're using a little piece of God's light. He developed light, designed light in the first place, so
Right.
no problem if you're using a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And we
And
just figured out a way to make it in a package like this. It's amazing when we can see what we've seen with pain and inflammation. And it's very dramatic. Sometimes people will see, like, even the first treatment, they notice right away that there's, wow, what happened? I
absolutely.
have a physician a retired physician who just talked to me the other day, and she purchased one of the units after she tried it from somebody else. And she said she was battling with knee pain for years and she gave it a try. And she says, one treatment, and the next day I was like significantly better.
You feel the
Like,
difference. Yeah.
and here she's one that has gone through the medical system
Yeah.
and using drugs at hand
Mm-hmm.
and never seeing that kind of change. She says, "This is a miracle." Like, but she says, "I don't know. It's kind of like it is a miracle."
Well,
But
you see, with knee pain too, especially, right? And what makes the palm unit so, the super palm unit so great is the fact that it gets into the joint.
yeah,
So the problem with knee, especially if you have an actual soft tissue problem in the joint, is that blood flow doesn't go in there, and we know that we need that blood flow to heal the
yes,
tissue. So what the red light does, it goes in. So especially when you bend the knee, like I would literally have him do it at the side with the knee bend, and then extend the leg and do it behind at the ACL.
yeah. And
So
not only that, you also help the back of the knee. You help the lymphatic drainage, which is very important to help
exactly
get the move
to
the
reduce the
inflammation.
inflammation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's what we did. And he did that for I want to say 7 weeks. Headed back to to school and like knocked out a 3 mile run in 6 minutes. Crazy. And he wasn't doing that before because he was literally protecting the knee. But he's back, and he attributes it to the red light therapy, and so do I. And it was enough for me to decide to make the investment and add it to my business as part of my protocol and my modalities that I employ when I work on people.
Yeah, it really is something how it does speed up the healing as well,
Yeah.
on all these kinds of joints and other issues as well. So, when what have you been able to see, let's say, on some others? I know you've had it not a long time, but you have the big canopy now. What are you finding
Right.
with the large canopy?
Well, I would have mentioned to you about my person who had the breathing limitations, right? With just having, I think it was 2 or 3 sessions, from being able to walk, I don't know, 20 steps in one direction and just being totally winded and gassed, to now circling the block, right, as
Yeah,
part of his exercise routine, right? I mean, we would have to take 3-4 minute breaks in between exercises so
right,
that he can recover. And
right.
then I just decided, you know what, let's try the light on those lungs and your organs and see how that helps. Two or
Yeah.
three sessions, and the results were amazing. And to this day, I haven't seen him in maybe 2 months, but to this day, he is still circling that block as part of his exercise routine.
And he was in real rough shape with his lungs.
Yeah, well, he was a cancer survivor. I mean, he's been through the ringer, let's just say,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, and he would have observed that during a certain time period, he would have gotten certain medications that would have caused, in his mind, his breathing limitations. So
right.
when he got, I think he had an MRI done, and no, ultrasound, and they said that there was scar tissue or scarring in the lungs,
Hmm.
right? So which was hindering his breathing. So, they gave him meds, they gave him steroidal, but other than that, they couldn't find anything wrong with him.
Right,
So
right.
put him under the light, and all of a sudden he's breathing better, he's more energetic, and like I said, he's literally circling the block a few
Well,
times. He's 72.
we had before we did our study, we were going to do a study in Montreal at 3 hospitals with our light technology for COVID. We had approval to go forward with the study, and that was to do like for lungs and to reduce inflammation in the lungs. And unfortunately, after we had everything ready to go, we had the government approval to go forward with the trial, which took quite a while. We had ethics board approval. We had everything ready to go, and unfortunately, this was during COVID, something that could help a lot of people. Upper management canceled the study at these 3 hospitals, which was
Right.
pretty bad. That was not nice. But I found out that any type of therapeutics were canceled during that time frame. It was, and
Right.
then I didn't feel as bad. But before that, we had to, in order to do a clinical trial, you have to show some type of efficacy on something to show why, and some safety, just basic stuff.
There's
And
so much.
what's
There's
that?
so there's so much out there.
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it's
there
it,
is.
it's
There's
why it's why I decided I was going to try that on him in the first place. Not because
yeah.
I'm a medical doctor or anything like that.
No, we're not medical doctors here.
Yeah,
We're not
no,
prescribing anything, but
no. That's why I said, I thought I would try it on him. I asked him, I'm like, yo, do you trust me? I said, I want to try this technology on you. I think it can help a lot with your breathing. And that wasn't just me guessing. That was based on me looking to make this investment and literally doing the research and reading all these papers. There's so much information out there in regards, and I'm talking about clinical studies, not someone's opinion or like how I tell a story. I mean, clinical trials. It's out there. You just
yeah.
need to.
Well, if anybody's wanting to know, they're on our webpage. If they go on the research button, go down and you can see photobiomodulation studies and database. And so
Yeah.
you can go in the database and there's over 7,500 research articles there on PBM, using
Yeah.
PBM, using all kinds of devices. Now,
Yeah.
mind you, some of the devices weren't very powerful and maybe not quite up to what was really needed, but they still had significant improvement
Yeah.
in
So
these.
imagine if they had the proper medical grade intensity. Unbelievable. Yeah. 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 Imagine if they
I
had
I
that for
rest
that, right?
I rest my case. But
Yeah.
in order for us to do that trial, we had to have a couple of cases. So I had one woman who had COPD, and she would struggle with breathing when she would exert herself a little bit, and another woman with asthma,
Mhm.
and both of them, from the one treatment, saw a significant improvement for the rest of the day. So
Yeah.
it was really something. And the one with COPD, she said, I know, she ended up, she needed to pick something up from some store, and the store was closing. So she went and got out of her car and ran to get into the door. And she says, usually, I just realized right then I got in, and she says, usually I would just be gasping for air, wheezing, trying to get enough
Mhm.
air in. And she says, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, like she was totally shocked. And that
Yeah.
was the day that we had done the treatment. And she
Right.
knew her body well enough from before then that that was, something that would be a regular occurrence. And then the one with the asthma said didn't need the puffers like all day long, like, so significant improvement that way too during an allergy type situation. So the lungs.
I'm glad you brought that up because I do have a friend, a very good friend of mine, but he thinks it's pseudoscience, right? But he suffers a lot with COPD, and I keep telling him, I'm like, listen, it's not going to hurt to try it. So just come and try it. You don't have to be a believer now, but come and try it, and I know, make me a liar, you know.
Yeah,
So
well,
I'm
we
glad you brought
had.
that up.
Yeah, we had, well, if anybody wants to check this out, they can go to, there's um, sorry, I'm just trying to think of the website. It'll come to me. But it's all about photobiomodulation. And they have shown that there's an article published there, and it's also on our website as well. But they figure in the U.S. there's over 100 million PBM treatments that have happened, and there hasn't been any write-ups of people having side effects from
Right.
the light, some kind of bad side effects. Nothing, nothing.
Nothing.
So why wouldn't a person try this? You could be sure you can go and take a drug for the rest of your life, um, but it'll have its effects, and then you'll probably need another drug to
Fix
counteract the
that too.
other effects, and
Exactly.
you'll just get on to another drug and another drug, and it has effects on different parts of your body. And but this is an all natural way of treating it, but you have to have enough light intensity. So when we're talking of light, see how that light is going right through my hand.
Yeah.
So this is what people need to have, is the right about a light energy. There's all sorts of toys out there that, or they can be used, the toys can be used superficial.
Well,
You know,
definitely for the skin, right?
yeah,
It does
yeah, no
minimize your
problem for the
visual.
skin, but when we're trying to talk about getting deeper, you
That's
really
right.
need to have the right amount of light output to get deeper in. And it's a combination of the power density, as we say, and also the area. The larger the area, it does help. So we have a study that I showed 2 weeks ago on a science presentation, Science of Light presentation. And when we increase the area, in the area was, let's say, 3 centimeters by 3 centimeters, so an area like that. And then we went to 4 by 4 centimeters. We had more penetration.
Mhm.
When we went 6 by 6, was even a little larger. We had deeper. When we went to 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, which is approximately 4 inches by 4 inches, even more light was going through. And then after that, it wasn't that much more. But don't you find the canopy nice because you can treat the whole back area? You're not chasing a small little area. You want to affect all the muscle groups at the same time, right?
Yeah,
So tell me
yeah.
a little more about what you have seen with the large canopy that you've seen compared to the, let's say, the palm light, even though the palm light's great for localized stuff.
Yeah. So I have to tell you, so again, I'm going to use myself as a point of reference just because this is so significant. And I have another person who has been doing the same protocol as me.
Right.
So not getting under the light any less than 3 times a week, right? For
Okay.
20 minutes. So we need to get under the light no less than 3 times a week at 20 minutes. That's our protocol, right?
Right.
So we've been doing that. He is a high level power executive. He's always into something, traveling all over the world. He might not always eat properly or get his exercise in. Sometimes he doesn't get enough sleep. So we thought we would use this to see how it impacts his sleep. As for me, it was more so I felt drained because I've just been working so much.
Right.
But my energy levels are through the roof after being consistent for almost about a month, right? My sleeping has improved exponentially. I don't get hives when I get anxious. Don't tell anybody I get hives, but right? But I don't get it anymore. I that coffee that I would have to have in the evening, I don't need it anymore because I'm just full of energy, right? So even my training has improved with myself, like my exercise. Um, Amazing. And same for him as well. So he's looking at it more so he wants to be sharper in his thinking.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so, places of business should be looking at this. Imagine if a lawyer is charging, $300 an hour or $500 an hour, and they're able to be that much sharper in that
Yep.
short amount of time. What's
Yep.
that worth to the company? What's that worth to the guy's overall, abilities?
Yep.
To go as far as to be so sharp that they're winning the cases, because they got that extra clarity in their mind. So I
Well,
think
how
this.
about how about our youth? I am right down the street from McMaster University. So it has huge implications for the students. I have a few students who come in and take the light and they love it. They can't
Yeah.
quantify why they love it, but they love it. And I think it's because of the energy levels and the fact that it keeps them focused on what it is they're doing, right?
What I suggested to the one university, Shepherd's University, in West Virginia, is they should do a study at around exam time for those that want to be involved in the study,
Yep.
and they could compare the people that are using the light therapy compared
Versus,
to those that are not, and see how they perform on the tests. That's all you have to do is look at the test results, and
that's it.
if everybody in the light treatment group, oh, sorry, because it's a natural, you got some people that won't be affected, some people that'll have bad time, on their study. So you'll have a range. But what if everybody in the one group was in this range, and everybody that didn't do the light therapy was down in this range, right? Like there's overlap, but you can see the statistical significance of the people that did the light. What kind of study would that be? Like, that'd be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So we got to get some universities to study performance, and I'm sure they can say it in such a way that, yeah, they're volunteering, and they may or may not improve in their marks, and see what happens after that and use the study
Yeah.
accordingly.
I would love it even more if you had a panel that was your panel and another panel that just had red light, not real red light. Again, more like a placebo effect,
Right.
right?
Yep.
And have the two sets, the two groups do it that way. And I think like that right there, like how do you refute that? Because I mean, if you have a person who takes it and a person who doesn't take it, you know, psychosomatically, they can produce results, right?
Right.
Because, but if they don't know which light is real, which one is not real, and they're all under the light, those results, like,
Yeah.
it would be irrefutable.
Yeah. So
You know what I mean?
we're asking those that are out there that are academically connected, connect
Let's
with
put it
us.
on. Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want a big shout out to Red Light Boutique
Thank you.
with Blaise here, and having this great opportunity to talk about your treatment center and how it's been going, and it looks good. It's a positive look going forward, isn't it?
I like it. I can't complain.
Yeah.
I'm proud of taking this step. And you know, I see nothing but good things in the future, and so far so great, right? I've been open. I'm managing well. Clients are coming through the door, and they're more curious about the red light therapy versus coming in for the red light therapy at this juncture, because a lot of people don't know about it, right? So,
Yeah.
but the one thing I do have going for me is that my clients do trust me, and you know, my followers trust me, and it is generating a lot of interest, right? So I am happy for that, because as I would have mentioned before, you know, I've helped people with the red light. I can't say I've turned that profit yet with my red light therapy, but there are people who I've
It's
worked
gonna
with,
come. It's
and
gonna come.
that's right.
Wait till those that you've helped, spread the
Exactly.
news, right?
Well, they exactly, and that's what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
So it's still a lot of referral, but it's very new, and you know, you understand that it's not new to us. It's surely not new to you. It's not new to the people who have known about it for the 30 plus years, right? But it's just now sort of gaining a little bit of momentum and coming to the forefront, not so much as only a modality for aesthetics, but
Yeah.
also for medical grade treatments,
Yeah.
right? From things like, here's another example, right? I can tell you two people right now using this same very tech, your tech, who have had monumental improvements in Lyme disease. And if
Yes,
you know,
please speak to that. Please speak to that.
you know, Hamilton is the tick central of Canada, right? And that's where I live. That's where you live. So, and one of the things I really love to do is go hiking and stuff. But I've always had this fear because of the tick situation in Hamilton. And there's a disproportionate amount of people who are suffering and don't know why they're suffering. And then years later, they figure out, oh, shucks, I've had Lyme disease for the last
Right.
X amount of years, right? And not getting the relief or getting the healing that they require, because one, it's gotten so bad due to the fact that they don't know they have it. Two, when they do get diagnosed, they're given things like antibiotics, different types of what do you call that, supplements to counter the Lyme disease.
Yeah.
So these two particular individuals, one would have had their Lyme disease for, I think she said she had it, she got it around the time she was 18, and then didn't realize she had it until she was 23, and then was suffering with it until the age of 28, and then used the red light therapy, the medical grade red light therapy, and that is what gave her her healing. Now, keep in mind, you cannot heal Lyme disease,
Yes.
because it always hides in your body, but it can't hide from the light.
Yeah. As a
Can't
matter
hide
of
from the
fact,
light.
we had somebody that they went under the helmet, and one of the symptoms they have is when they do have this, it shows up in another part of their body. So when she had it, as soon as she put the helmet on, she says, let me show you this. And she showed me her shoulder. And she says, that wasn't there before I did the treatment. Basically, whatever's going on, whether I don't understand, microbes or all that stuff.
It moves.
It moves, and it moved down to her shoulder.
Yeah.
And she says, look at this. Like it looked like somebody took a torch to her. She says it was normal skin just 5 minutes before, but it actually, she says, but I can think clearer now. I have my brain, it's not as foggy. I'm clearer thinking. So amazing what that is all about. Now, the other thing would be the possibility of, I'll just mention, people should check it out. It's got a lot of benefits. There's a website out there called Methylene Blue. That's METHYLENE blue.red. Now, it's a supplement, but it actually reacts with the red light and can even help that a little bit better. So that's methyleneblue.red. You can learn, there's some videos there, some data there. It's pretty good website. Anyways, just have a look. But right now, Blaise, I'm just going to ask you to, for a moment, we'll turn off your video, and I'm just going to do a commercial here at this point. Sure. And then we'll bring you back on because I see there's a load of questions. Please get your questions ready, and we're going to start firing through them in a minute. Okay?
Okay. All right.
So with our devices, we have the Palm Professional, and then that's one of the devices. Then we have the Palm Ultimate, and then we have the Super Palm. Okay, the differences between the Palm Professional and the Ultimate are both have the 660-810 wavelength, and it's just that the Ultimate has like 25% more power, so it actually can penetrate a little bit deeper. Then when it comes to the Super Palm 1050, I've just got to put my glasses on here for just a sec. I thought I had, but anyways, the 1050 nanometer unit, the Super Palm, is totally invisible to the eyes. So you could turn it on and you can look at it and you don't see anything. You see one little tiny red light in the corner. That's because it's 1050 nanometer, and you can actually penetrate a little bit deeper with the 1050. So there's the Super Palm. Right now, we still have a sale that's from the Black Friday, and it's 10% off. So if you go to our website and see at SunPowerLED, right there, SunPowerLED.com, you can use that banner which tells you the coupon code and get a 10% discount on the purchase. We still have the possibility of getting it out before Christmas. So if you're thinking of some people out there that have pain and inflammation of any kind, maybe it's your parents through arthritis or something, this is extremely helpful when it comes to that. So consider that as a gift that keeps on giving. Giving very well, giving health, and I tell you, it really helps people when it comes to getting more of their life back if they've got a lot of pain. So it's great, and you can treat those bigger, deeper areas of the body as well. We didn't mention it in this broadcast, but the number of times that you can speed up healing anywhere on the body, even if it's older injuries, you can start that repair process. You can help it to get going by getting the Palm device. So let's, at this point in time, I'm going to start looking at the questions. So we have those devices. Oh yeah, and I just want to mention, we also have the helmet here. And that has we have one device that has the 660-810 nanometer, and the other one has the 660-1050 nanometer. So, okay, Question. James is mentioning about the COPD, heavy duty COPD. That's him. Well, the light therapy can be used, even the palm unit, which can be used on the lungs, and we've been able to help people with breathing problems. Matter of fact, not only myself, when I went through the midst of COVID, my blood oxygen was 80%. I was in really, really rough shape. I didn't realize how bad I was, but I had no energy. If I went up 2 stairs, I was finished. Like, that was a lot of work to go up 2 stairs. And I just didn't have the energy nor I wasn't thinking clearly. I was totally out to lunch. So it wasn't until my son said, Tom, Dad, I got to get you into the hospital. And I said, okay. And I'd just taken the blood oxygen meter, put it on my finger. It's like 80. Oh, I guess that's not so good. And basically, they told me to just go home. And that was the best thing that could have happened. They said, here's some antibiotics, go home. And if you get worse, come back in. And I used the light that you see in the back here. That was the mini canopy. And I used that on my lungs front and back. So that was the canopy that Blaise has is 6 of these palm lights. So it covers 6 of the mini canopies, sorry, that covers the entire area. So it's really, really good for treating large areas. So I'm just going to look here for some of the questions. Okay, Blaise, Susan missed your occupation, so please, she couldn't get at the very beginning of the meeting, so could you repeat
Sure.
that for
Yes.
Susan?
So in my business, I wear a couple hats. I am a personal trainer first and foremost. That's where I started. That's my background. I have certifications in many different teachings for personal training. I also do trigger point work, and this is because I specialize in people who have postural pain. So I help them to regain their mobility by utilizing modalities like percussion therapy, trigger point therapy, cupping, and various other disciplines. Most recently, adding red light therapy technician to my list of disciplines.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and the big thing here is Blaise has been able to now get into using the big canopy and the palm units to help not only herself but also the help her
So
clients.
Tom, I recently made a trip to Trinidad because a family member had gotten a disease called leptospirosis. He
Okay.
raises chickens and he caught a virus that basically only presents itself a month in when your organs are failing. So he was on the brink of death. And once he was able, so I had to kind of sneak, I snuck in the palm unit and I would use it on his lungs and on his kidneys whenever the medical I,
Yeah, yeah.
it's probably unethical that I did that, but I was desperate and he was on his way out. He couldn't even breathe. He was breathing like like that. And then just using the light on him every time he was like, oh my God, I feel more energetic. Like he feels like he's breathing easier. He's resting better because he's not struggling to breathe. Right. And of course, that's important for recovery to be able to breathe.
Yeah.
So, by increasing his oxygen uptake, other things were able to start working, right? And
Yeah.
then, in tandem with the very strong antibiotics and the medications that he was using, he came out of ICU and he's home now, still recovering, but
Yeah.
he has his own unit now, and yeah, they use it on him diligently. So he's doing well.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we brought the light technology was able to bring somebody back from a very not a good situation, and that's that.
Along with, like I said, the medical staff was amazing. But
Yes. Oh yeah. No, I'm
I
sure
I
combination.
feel like it gave him the boost.
Yeah.
It gave him
Yeah.
a boost, and he felt the difference every time I used it on him. So
Thank you for mentioning. It's just that they don't know about it yet. That's the big
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So I got a question here that I need to answer. Chana is asking, why do some companies provide eyewear to the eye while using the light? Um, some like that was standard practice to supply like eyeglasses, the little blocking glasses. As it turns out, the light coming from our device is very diffused. And if you close your eyes, it's not much different than being out on a beach with your eyes closed, as far as safety wise. So, because the light is diffused, we are not having any hot spots on the back of the retina. But since lasers were the very first things around, now you had to have safety glasses for lasers because if you shone across the room, you could actually go into the eye and burn the back of the retina. It's always possible, especially with more powerful lasers. But now LEDs can have the same type of power, and I mentioned to people that they should go to the PBM 2024 web under research, the PBM 2024 conference that I was at, where we presented how the parallel between laser and LED, and we were getting the same performance out of the out of our LED device as a laser going through 2¼ inches of steak, 2¼ inches of pork, 2¼ inches of chicken. So definitely, we have a device that can provide a lot of energy, but it's still extremely safe because it's LED based and it's not super focused light. It's spreading the light out over the area, and that's why it's so safe. Jerry is asking, can the bulbs individually go out like a Christmas light? If so, how is our replacement bulbs handled? As a matter of fact, an LED properly used. Now, you used to have Christmas lights that if one would burn out, it would keep going. And then if the next one burned out, it would, and then all of a sudden the whole string would go. But as it turns out with LEDs, the LEDs themselves are very long lasting when you treat them right. So in a panel like you have, or our devices, or this here, we properly cool them. We have patents as to how we are, patent pendings as to how we're cooling it. So with that, we expect that the normal rating for a good cooling on an LED would be over 50,000 hours, and then you lose about 10%. In this case, we have extremely good cooling, so we expect that well over 50,000 hours before the light actually decreases in output. It should not burn out because of the way we're treating the LEDs and the way they're done. So I'm looking at the more questions here. I'm going to try and help go through these very quickly now because we've got a number of them. So can a massage therapist in the US use this device in their practice, or does it have to have some kind of PhD? As a matter of fact, our devices are FDA approved, and anyone can use them, whether they're at home or whether they're in a practice. It would just be a case of, I think you should look at, there's some courses that can be taken so you can learn a little bit more about red light therapy and what you can do with it and understand things a little bit better. But yeah, there's no issues with that. Okay. All right, let me just see. What is the stand adapter for the Super Palm? We have a little adapter. I don't have it handy here. it just snaps onto the back side of this. And what it does is allow you to use a tablet holder to hold the palm light. So it's got a long gooseneck on it. You can raise and lower it. So now it can hold you. It can hold it there on your shoulder or somewhere else. Ah, here we go. It just came out of the air just like that. Thank you, Faith. Anyways, this just snaps on the thing, and now this can go into a holder. You can also use this for a strapping to try and strap it to you if you wanted to, but this just goes into the holder. Now you can put the holder wherever you want, so you can have it on a certain area for a length of time. So that is the and we will if anyone placing an order, they can we will send them the link to the stand where they can buy it on Amazon. It's about $80, $80 to $100 in that range for the stand adapter. And we just suggest you buy it directly. That way you get it at the lowest cost possible, and that's fine with us. Any experience with hyperthyroidism? And as a matter of fact, hypothyroidism, which is a thyroid that's too low, or hyperthyroidism, we've been able to see where you're basically providing a wellness to the area to help proper blood flow, help with the immune system. There's up regulators, there's down regulators. It's all sorts of cool stuff. But what ends up happening, it actually helps the thyroid to work better. And so it's not a case you need to be with thyroids. You got to be very careful. You got to know what your levels are, and keep monitoring that and your symptoms, and as you go along with that. But it very well could help you. We have seen some people improve, and so we just want to make sure you know that. Okay, Shauna is asking about how one would use it for eye conditions. What we've been recommending is you would have a closed eye. We're not doctors. We're not trying, but here's what we've been able to find that people have found helpful. And there is, by the way, in the United States, they just finally approved it after years of this company trying to get it into the opticians. A device for treating the eyes with light. It actually puts out a very similar amount of light power like this, but it's only specialized opticians that have it. But if you close your eyes and you do 1 minute of the red, 1 minute of the near infrared, and you do that on a daily basis, we've got seniors that have seem to have improved their eye health, and they can actually measure it. As they go back in for checking their eyes, so they've been able to see improvements. So something that you can check into. But yes, it's possible to help with eye health as well. All right. Oh, good question. Jerry is asking, can the Palm device be taken through U.S. airports as carry-on? Absolutely. No problem whatsoever. And part of the reason why it's so easy to take this on your carry-on is because we do not make our device with lithium batteries. If we did, we'd need a great big battery on the back, and it'd be pretty heavy to hold. So with this device, there's no batteries. You just plug it into a low voltage 24-volt adapter, and now that gives you the energy that you want. As a matter of fact, we've used this light. We've started the new 5 Mile High Treatment Club, PBM Club, and that's we've had some people using the light on their shoulders on different parts. It's been pretty neat. Where we've been able to see some try the light, and now that they have 120-volt outlets in not just the first class but throughout the plane, on some planes, you can plug in your Palm light and do your own treatment. Now, please be, nice to the people around you. And if it's sleeping conditions, use the near infrared as opposed to the bright red. Okay, like waking up everybody well, actually, red light can actually help to cause people to sleep. So you never know. You could, everybody could be sleeping around you, if you do that. Okay, let's see more questions here. Okay. Blaise operates in Hamilton, Ontario, and people can come from all over. You'll accept somebody from Ottawa, right?
Listen, I have people that are, so yes, I am in Hamilton, I'm in Westdale specifically. I have people that come to me from Pickering, from North York, so that's like an hour and a half away. I've had people come to me from Guelph, Brantford, like everywhere to just come get treatment. So not necessarily for the training part of it, but when I do work with people on my table, I do provide them with a program, and of course a very high recommendation that they look into red light therapy. And anytime they come, I have a person that comes from North York. She comes here once a week, and she gets her red light treatment once a week. She's 76 years old. She is so sprite, and she loves it. She's like, I don't care. I take the bus. I come here. So,
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I'm again, one more shout out to Blaise for her red light boutique. For anyone in Ontario, you'll take somebody from North Bay, right?
If they're coming through my doors, they do not get rejected.
Right? Yeah,
You guys can, I don't know, red light, redlightboutique.ca is my website. You could go on there. It has all the information. Not only that, there's a lot of great testimonials. I mean, I have hundreds over the last 17 years, but most recently I've had to collect my Google reviews so that I can create this online presence to basically boost the business. And I mean, I've been in operation for just a little bit over a month, and I already have 30 plus 5-star like essay reviews based on their history. So feel free to go to the website. Again, that's redlightboutique.ca. My email is info@redlightboutique.ca. And yeah, I'm here to answer any questions that I possibly can, even as it pertains to mobility and postural pain. I'm happy to answer questions.
Great, great. Well, we're near the end. We're at the end of our show right now. I want to thank you. I'm just going to ask for another minute here for people to hang in there, but I just first want to thank you, Blaise, for being on our show tonight and this podcast. And as people around the world will learn, we've had last week. We had 8 different countries come on, which was fun.
Amazing. Amazing.
So you're getting out there. So hey, people can fly into Toronto and always drop into Hamilton, right?
Well, if you need me, I'm here for you, for sure.
Yeah. And our next week, next webinar will be next Tuesday. And I do want to say one thing is there's a fellow that I've been working with this last while. He's in Buffalo. His name's Josh. For those of you out there that are believe in prayer like I do, I welcome you to pray for Josh. He's been in the hospital right now just from early this morning with severe bout of seizures. And we're praying that he might return back to good health and be able to be discharged to go back home. But please remember Josh in your prayers. So anyways, everybody, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. You have being watching us tonight. You will be entered into the draw for the month of December. And if you join us next week, you'll get and watch us to the end. You'll be in the next week's draw, or added to the draw. So the more times you watch us, the more ballots that are entered in. But we only accept 4 ballots per month unless it's a 5-week. So don't turn on 10 computers under your name and think you're going to get more ballots that way. Anyways, thank you, Blaise. Thank you, everybody. I
Thanks
hope
for having me.
everybody has a real blessed week going forward.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now.